Hello, guys. Good day. This is Anna Free Enforce Me Club. Today, we are going to talk about personal values. How personal core values shape our decisions. Now, speaking about personal core values, these are fundamental beliefs and principles that guides us, every individual, the way we behave, the way we react, the way we interact, and it also influence our decision making process. So it actually reflects our character and our behavior. And since this reflects our character, our behavior, this will also get manifest in our actions. So personal values, these are a set of beliefs on how we differentiate the good and the bad in our community, in our society, in our culture, or even merely in our group of friends. So this is how we view our a standard behavior. What is the standard behavior to us? What is our standards in terms of how people treat us and how we treat people? These are our standards on what we can tolerate, and it also reflects our actions towards others. Now, how does this personal values form? Actually, our personal values basically starts with family and our upbringing. The parents, our caregivers, instill their own values to us. If they give importance to honesty and patience, we value honesty and patience. And if anybody lies to us, we can't take it. We can't take that. That is betrayal. And it's non negotiable. That is why having a core values for ourselves is important, because it actually gives us an idea on what we can tolerate, and it also gives us a feedback of our action, whether our actions are in line to our values. And this, I do believe that this must be non-negotiable. The values could be improved, but it's totally non-negotiable, and I'll explain to you later. Now, another thing which influence our personal values is our cultural and societal norms. This includes traditions, customs, and social expectations. Just like in my previous content about education, how Filipino families prioritize education in the midst of poverty. That every family is willing to be in debt, to work hard all day around in order to send their kids to school. And in Philippines, we also practice manopo. We bless the hands of our elders and parents, put it in our forehead, and then greet them. Greet them good morning, good day, hug them, kiss them. That's our way of showing respect and affection to the people we love as Filipinos. And talking about costumes and social expectations, I also have noticed, how people eat. The way people eat. For us Filipinos and other countries, we can manage to use our hands, but could be in Western countries, some Western countries, some of them are, we could encounter conflicts and discriminations with that, with the differences of values. But yes, of course, it actually we practice that. It's normal in our society and our community in the Philippines. But when we mixed up with people with different upbringing, different values, mixed up with people in Western countries, that's totally off to them. Yes, indeed. Although it's normal to some countries. So cultural and societal norms. Another thing which influence our personal values is our education and experiences. So both formal and informal education can contribute to our developmental. Uh, I'm sorry, it's development of values, not developmental values. Development of values. So when we go to school, we become more institutionalized in a way that our parents, friends, and people in the community, in the society, they expect us to behave as per norms, as expected of us when we go to school. Especially when we're graduates, we are expected to act like professionals. We can't just hang around in the corner, do anything we want, drink whatever we want, liquor, when we're professionals. There are some expectations for a doctor and how a doctor must act in front of the people, anywhere, everywhere. A lawyer, an engineer. It's different expectations in every country, society. There could be differences, but there must be an expectations. Now, another thing which help form our personal values is the so-called peer influence. Our friends and peers, which actually can be good or bad for us. We especially when we hang around with them in most days, in years and years. Sometimes the the bad things could be normalized because of peer pressure. We've been trained to rob because it's normal, when we're out with friends. We've been trained to really to lie to our parents because our friends lie to our parents. So peer pressure is supposed to be our value. Good value must be honesty, but in order to get what we want, to sneak out, to get an instant satisfaction, we tend to normalize to lie sometimes to our loved ones to get an instant satisfaction, instant gratification, because it's easy. We've done this before. Our friends have done it, and nothing. They can get away from it, which is not necessarily. You know, Karma or life can always give you a blow of lessons in time until you finally learn. Now, another thing is this is common and to be general in a way. The thing that is called media and technology and how it actually molds our mind, our thinking, and how we perceive the world, beauty, and love, relationship goals, media and technology. So, massive exposure to different perspectives through media and technology can shape or shift our values and how a beautiful person should be according to the social media. You must have six pack as a woman. According to social media, you must get married at 27, 26. Which should be, yeah, fair enough. But not necessarily married. But, there, the media has imposed some standards which are off to some people. Because, you know, we know that every person is different. Which means that what could be right for you could be wrong for me. What could be the right thing for me could not be. You're not going to be happy about it. Each person is different, and we have our different ways. And in terms of maturity growth, sometimes some people got mature and were able to accumulate and build an empire by 30. And some 30-year-old men out there, they're still starting to build those empire, to build a business. So we have different stages. We have different standards, as I've said before. We have different personal standards, but the media tend to, you know, convince us due to massive exposure that this must be done. We only have one standards, which is sometimes questionable. We don't even know if it's true, right? That's why having a personal values is important. And of course, lastly, part of the, you know, thing which influence the formation of our personal values is our religion and spirituality. So some countries they're against divorce, and even by law, divorce is not legalized. So they have to make it work, make the relationship work with all the good, the bad, and the ugly till death do us part. Part in any ways that we can get separated in order to get some break. But yes, indeed, even in the Philippines, divorce is not yet legalized. Unlike in other countries, they can get separated anytime, anywhere, and it's easy to really get married and say bye bye. Unlike in the Philippines, it takes a long, expensive process. And not only in terms of marriage, though. Uh, in Philippines, I'll take this as an example because I came from Philippines. You know, I do believe that we're a conservative country, although because of massive exposure to media and technology, we shifted our mindset. You know, uh, we can get access to the contents of even explicit content from other countries. We can get access to that. That is why our head is like our thinking is all over the place. But Filipinos are typically conservative, although there could be a differences in the type of the way we're conservative. It depends on how our family raised us. It depends on our family values, basically. Although we shifted mindset from time to time, but family values in the Philippines are totally solid. It's just that as kids grow, you know, nothing is permanent though, and we try to catch up with future, and as a result of that, sometimes we get into the phase wherein we are totally all over the place. We make mistakes, but most importantly, we need to go back on the right track. Now, it is important to understand our own values, our own core values, for several crucial reasons. And number one for that is it is our guidance in decision making, especially in challenging situation. So if we believe that honesty, especially if you are a business owner, you value honesty, and then the service that you deliver was there's some kind of discrepancy. If you value honesty in your business, you have to be accountable to those discrepancies and make it up to your customer. Try to make it up and give him like extra bonus because of the discrepancies, and keep that customer as your customer. Make that customer happy in spite of the you know could be the bad service at one time. Still keep the customer happy by making it up to them, or giving them some complimentary stuff or food to keep them happy, because you are honest, you are accountable for your mistakes. Honesty and patience, because they're going to customers will eventually give out if they will encounter they don't really get what they expect. They don't get what they paid for. So you have to face that when you value honesty and patience. So decision making, guidance. Another thing is that other than blaming others for what happened, when you value accountability and responsibility for all the things that you did, and you owned your mistakes, you own the outcome, and that's already a basic for you, the basis for your improvement. You can maneuver your actions, your responses out from the current mistakes that or the current situations that you have, which needs improvement. So guidance in decision making. Another reason why it is important to understand your core value is, for the sake of self-awareness and personal growth. Knowing your values help you understand yourself better, which is the best part. It makes life easier. It also helps you foster self-awareness and personal growth. So when you understand yourself, which is sometimes it doesn't happen all the time. Sometimes you hate yourself, but you need to get along with yourself. Take note, nobody could ever love you the way you love yourself. Sometimes you don't like yourself, but you need to get along with it. And don't blame other people if they don't like you. You don't even like yourself sometimes. That's to me, all right? So if they don't like me, yes, I couldn't blame them. I don't even like myself sometimes, but I still love myself. We get along well. So love yourself. Self care. So when you know yourself, then you will eventually love yourself. Give yourself a good sleep, a workout, eat healthy so that you can function well mentally. You can feed your well being. And you can start with that. And then you go for personal growth. You're hitting your goals from self awareness. Self awareness is pretty much important when you're going for like big goals, because you can't, it's hard to be rich when your personal growth is really poor. You can see it in the media though, superstars who end up to be addicts, or who end up to be broke after an instant success. So you have to level your personal growth with your financial growth. You can even witness this to those people who won lotto, and they and still end up to where they belong, as a garbage guy, or whatever is their current job. Instead of being rich, having millions, they still go back to where they belong, and poverty. And understanding your core values, you can actually align your actions and your choices so that you can feel more fulfilled and contented with your actions, with the process, as well as with the outcome. And that is called alignment and fulfillment. So you make decisions in alignment to your values, so that whatever will be the consequence that you're going to deal in the end, you'll be satisfied. You'll be happy enough to face it, to make a way, to find a way to solve it if there are any problems. And another thing, knowing your core values is important in conflict resolution. So being clear about your values can help you resolve conflict. It could be internal or external. It gives you a clear framework for evaluating options and actions. So if you are a responsible person, if you value honesty with your current relationship, and you are accountable, then whatever mistakes you have, or it could be the other person's mistake, but you are committed to work to make the relationship work, sometimes even though it's not your fault, you end up to be, you're the one, you're the one who's going to say sorry just to work things out. You say sorry, be agreeable, and then talk about the issue, because you are committed to make the relationship work forever and ever. Amen. When you're married, you have to renew that vow every day. It's important. But it's that's the ideal, but it's hard. And another thing, it is important to understand your own value, because that's how you are going to build trust and relationship with other people. If you are a liar, and that's the kind of relationship that you're going to get, you're going to end up with people with trust issues. It's hard for you to maintain and keep relationship because you're a liar. But when you're honest, if you value honesty and trust, this will strengthen relationship with other people. People who have similar principles as you have. So that's how it works. It is important because it is guidance in decision making, self awareness and personal growth, alignment and fulfillment, conflict resolution, and knowing your personal values helps you build trust and relationships with others. And values could be conflicting at times when you will be mixed up with different people. People who are liberated and people who are conservative. So there could be conflicts with those values, but we need to get along with that, because values are totally non-negotiable for me. Well, I could change that, but Values make me happy, make me feel safe, make me feel comforted, being loving and protecting myself first. That is why it's important to really communicate your needs and boundaries to others so they will understand where you're coming from. And it's also important to understand the others. If they came from a liberated family or culture, sorry, society, where they're coming from, this conservative beings, and then they dressed up differently, you have to respect that because that is their values, with all the respect. And in the first place, we are all different. So why can't we just take people as they are? Whatever the color of their skin, the way they look, the way they dressed up, the way they behave, as long as we're all good together, we're not doing bad things, we just get along, that, we're good to go. That'll be enough. Now, values are not necessarily permanent. They can evolve over time due to life experiences like trauma, success, failure, which can lead us to reassessment of our values to the point that we need to change it. Because from time to time, as we grow older, we are learning. Sometimes we value friends. That is why it's easy. It's all right for us to really to accept the way they treat us because we want to fit in, we want to be their friends, and it's okay for us to get bullied sometimes to fit in, to get accepted. But as we grow older, to the point that we're tired of those, doormat treatment, we can't tolerate that anymore. Come on, just cut the relationship off and then we're fine. There will come a point that we're going to change the way we perceive the world because of too much pain, disgust. And it's not easy to be in that situation. So when the brain feels that, it's gonna tell you, I think you need to change this thing. You need to change the way we think, the way we act, the way we see the world. We need to shift from this to this. So we'll be good to go. Your brain's gonna tell you what to do from the massive pain in the heart. I'm not talking about cardiac arrest. That's pain from breakups or bad experiences. And when you are into really chasing your goal, big goals, sometimes we need to change our mindset as well as our values for the sake of personal growth and hitting that big goals that we have. We need to change our mindset about money, about relationships. If we are really truly committed to become rich, wealthy, or life coach, you have to be that kind of person that we want to be. The kind of person, not the money, not the cars, not the fancy houses, but the kind of person. That's why we need to change our mind at times. And personal values could change in challenging environments. Moving to a different cultural or social environment can introduce new values and prompt every individual to shift, their existing mindset. Like for example, I came from Philippines and I live in a Western country now, and yes, some of my pals are liberated and they think differently. Sometimes I adapt to that. I would agree to how they perceive things because I am here. But when I go back to Philippines, it'll be different. So they'll be on and off to like the way I see the world through different people. Now, values could also change in terms of relationship. Interacting with people who have different values can challenge and sometimes change our own values. Have you noticed that there are some people who are really tremendously funny, but when they get involved with someone who is serious, pretty much serious, they've changed. They're not funny anymore. They can't even take jokes. So when they are in a relationship with someone, sometimes people change. Because they're committed for that relationship to work. So it's that's their choice. Overall, reviewing these things called the personal values will help us get in touch with ourselves as well as with the like-minded people which is we deserve. People who think like us, especially those people who are better than us, smarter than us. That's how we get to learn and improve. And when we live by our values, when you live by your values, you'll notice that things will be easier. Not much of adjustment. No ifs and buts. You don't have to be this kind of person because you have to hang out. I mean, have to hang out with this person. You have to speak professionally. But when you stick to your values, life will be easier. No adjustments. Little bit only, tiny bit, because you stick to your thing. You love your thing. And it will also having a personal values of your own improves your emotional health. You will feel more peaceful, which is I love. You don't have to get into conflict from time to time because the other person wants to prove himself right. Okay, you stay away or just give way and then move on. And when you stick to your values, you unlock your potential, knowing you're living in a way that is totally authentic to you. So, by the way, if you love this content today, you can share it to your family and friends. You can follow me on YouTube, Facebook, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and YouTube Podcasts. It's Anne, by the way, of Reinforce McLove. I do appreciate your time and have a lovely day ahead. Indeed. Thank you.